Please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Greetings, family, and welcome back to Raising the Vibe. Thank you so much for joining me today. Please subscribe to the channel and like this video. Today, I have a special treat for you, a fellow Black American who has traveled to the Gambia and now is co-owner of a business in the Gambia. I'll let her introduce herself, and without further ado, here she is. Hi. So would you care to introduce yourself to the Raising the Vibe family, sis?
Sure. My name is Kidist, and my YouTube channel is called Global Green Book. I'm a YouTuber. I'm sharing my repatriation story. It's like a vlog. I also have a podcast that I started in the midst of this that's called Let's Talk About with Empress.
I will drop links down in the description box, but you told us that you have a YouTube channel, Global Green Book, and that you have a podcast. Yeah. So I can definitely drop those down. So Kidist, you are planning to repatriate to Africa, right?
Right now, I am focusing on the Gambia in West Africa.
I know you've been to other parts of Africa before, but you went to the Gambia for the first time last year?
Yes, I went in November, and I was there for just a good part of two weeks, just to kind of get my boots on the ground, to see what was going on, to check out business opportunities. I went in partnership with a young lady in the Gambia and opened up a variety store of such, of high-end clothes and different American products, as well as I went in partnership with another gentleman, and we're in land and consideration opening up another store and maybe possibly an Airbnb.
Oh, wow, that's wonderful. So circling back to the logistics, you had a very interesting story about traveling to the Gambia. Can you share that with us?
Yeah, yes, definitely. Well, because I decided, not to get certain jabs, the requirement from the US is that you have to have a COVID test that is under 24 hours. I decided to go ahead and go to the clinic that they now have in place in certain airports that do a lot of international flights. So in Washington, D.C., that's Dulles Airport, and they have a clinic there where you can schedule to get your COVID tests and you get your results within 45 minutes. Wow. Which was really great for me, because what I decided to do was get my appointment that morning, go in the morning. I think I had like an 8 a.m. appointment to get my COVID test, got it back, the results were fine. My flight was, I think, around 5 p.m. that evening. Well, the thing was, when I was in Washington, D.C., before you're even allowed on through the gates, not even on the plane, before they even allow you to check in your bags, you have to fill in that that form that lets let them know where you're going, how long you're staying, blah blah blah. Which
the passenger locator
you can
form.
do it on the plane. The passenger locating form. Well, with Brussels, you cannot even check in your bags.
That's right.
Until that form is done. So I had some major glitches, and a lot of people were having glitches of trying to get it done. But by the time it was done, I had like 15 minutes to get to my gate. Go to check in my bags. My bags were fine. I had an extra bag, which I did not know I could not take on the plane. I had to check it in. It was $200 for me to check in. I had to check in my traveler's bag. And then they tell me at the gate, when I was getting my ticket, I kept saying, my ticket's wrong, I'm going to the Gambia. That's when I found out my flight to the Gambia was canceled, and my ticket was only for me to go to Brussels. Brussels had canceled my flight.
They've done it
And
to
at this,
me many times before too. That link
yeah,
to Brussels and Gambia, they've done that twice to me, if
twice
not
to you.
more, if not more.
Exactly. So I was like, I did not have time to fight with them because I had to get to my plane. So I said, I will deal with this in Brussels. To only find out that I had to go get my bags and leave the airport. And I had to come back in and get another ticket to, to go to Brussels. And they were trying to
To go
charge
to the
me for all
Gambia and to go to
to
the
go
Gambia from Brussels, and this is because of the length of your layover, right?
layover, because my layover went from a 5-hour layover to a 24-hour layover. So I went to customer service and I was like, you all cancel my flight. No one told me anything. I didn't know anything until I got here. And so they gave me, you know, breakfast, 4 meals, dinner, I think it was lunch, dinner, breakfast, for while I was there. So I was like,
Well,
fine. I was happy with that. So I
and
got
they gave
lunch
you
and
a
food,
hotel too, right?
and they gave me a hotel. But if I had not customer service, they would. I seen several people from my flight go in there and pay for a hotel. Initially, I was looking for a hotel outside of the airport, which was less expensive. And that's when someone told me, like, if you leave the airport and and go to a hotel, when you come back, you're gonna have to pay for your COVID test all over again.
So the
So I'm
hotel
glad
you was within that humongous airport.
for Brussels have their own airport. I mean, they have their own hotel. That's literally like when you come out your building, it's like 10 feet across the street. You just literally walk across a walkway. It's right in front of the airport. They have hotel, restaurant. They have like a whole nother, like a little city right there in front of the airport.
A nice hotel, up to date, clean, good food.
Hotel had like golfing in it, so I was very impressed with it. It was very clean. I was impressed. It was a really, nice accommodations. They even had like vending machines for all your little needs. Like if you need a suitcase, they had a vending machine for suitcases. They had vending machines for like all your bathroom supplies. So it was an interesting thing to see over there.
And by going to the hotel within the airport, you didn't have to worry about taking another COVID test.
So good that I took it that morning, because if I didn't take it that morning before I left, my COVID test would have been invalid and I would have had to take another COVID test because of the 24-hour layover.
Oh, because it's still 72 hours for Gambia. That 24 hours is a United States thing.
Yes.
So now once you get to Gambia, you paused for a moment in Senegal and then took the plane directly into Gambia. Once you got there, did they give you a test again too?
Yes,
Like
yes, they did.
Okay, and you didn't have to pay for it.
What they do, you didn't have to pay for it. What they do is, the vaccinated goes, straight in, and those who didn't get vaccinated, it's like literally in the line. They take the test, they check it. It's like a real rapid test, and then you go on through, and then you can pay your $20 airport fee, and then whatever, your immigration and what have you. Yeah.
You know what's interesting is the last time I went there with my children, they gave everybody that test. There was no distinction between are you vaccinated or not. When you got off of, you have to walk across the tarmac to get to that little area they have. And then before you could even enter the door, everybody got siphoned off to get a rapid test. So it's interesting to see that they're making a change now based on vaccination status.
Yeah, and it was like literally from my plane, it was just only 2 of us who were unvaccinated.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
It was a lot of UK people on this flight from Brussels. And most of the people of color got off on Senegal, and most of the Europeans went to the Gambia, which I also found intriguing.
Yeah, I'm gonna refrain from commenting, but those who have watched the channel and watched other videos about the Gambia, I'm sure you can imagine why that is. So you get to the Gambia. What do you think? It's your first time there. It's actually it's a small airport, but it's relatively nice. You come out into the hot African heat. What do you think about the Gambia?
I particularly found Gambia a little chaotic, you
Okay.
know, a little chaotic and,
Even
a
just
little
from
intimidating.
disembarking,
Yeah.
trying to go through the process and get out of the airport was chaotic.
Yeah, because it was kind of weird because I just seen people back and forth yelling and screaming, and this one, you come here, you come here. And then the Europeans, a lot of them felt they were very familiar. So they were like, hey, such and such, I'm here. And then people were cutting it. It was like really like
Oh, wow.
no organization. I was like thrown off. But luckily for me, I had someone that was meeting me at the airport. But once I got out the airport, I was hit with like, a lot of the ladies trying to it was kind of strange, hit me off with bananas and oranges. But
Always
I
with the
noticed that.
tangerines on their head, but I actually love those tangerines.
Yeah, the first thing was really nice was just seeing smelling the air, the African air, because I miss that, because Africa has its own, it just smells like nature to me, and I love that about it. You don't smell toxins, you don't smell pollution, it just smells like earth and animals, and I like that personally. You know, and it was very warm. I immediately started unlayering because I had like layers and layers of clothes on. So I was just, it just felt like I let out a deep breath, like, I'm
A
home.
sigh of relief.
A sigh of relief.
So you leave the airport. What part of the Gambia is a really small country, so I'm
Yeah,
imagining you were in that inner hub. What part of the country did you stay in on that visit?
I was in Bruford.
Okay, in Bruford. All right, I think my audience is familiar with that because I stayed there too and did a lot of videos. It's a nice area.
Gambia is very different. Very different. Just, the way like the streets, junctions and just to see how small it was.
And you know what's
Exactly.
it's very small, and every one of those circles is a new has a different name, like turntable. Every time you get to a new rotary or circle, that is considered another town, which is interesting at best.
Yeah, it was just very intriguing to me, especially when I was seeing how small the roads are and the way they do things. It just was like, it really hit me because I didn't really understand how everyone kind of knew each other, and everyone was visiting the same places until I got there, and I was like, oh, this place is very small. Like, I get it now.
But if you go outside of that little area into the various provinces, then I think it feels bigger and not like such
Yeah,
a small
yeah.
country.
Yeah, because I traveled out a few times, and that's when I was like, okay, it was like I was seeing lakes and and farms and things of that nature, and I was going into the bush, and I was like, okay, this is more like it. I didn't go to the capital because that was confusing me also because the airport says it's in Banjul, but it's really not in Banjul, so that was kind of throwing me off. So I never made
You
it to the
never went to
capital.
Banjul?
Never went to
You never
Banjul
went to
because I
Banjul
got
Market? You went to the market
no.
in Sylvania?
I
Okay.
did.
So did you arrive at night or in the daytime? At night, right?
At night. I got there around, I think, 7 p.m.
I think they only have the flights come in at night.
I was like taking in the sights because I really missed Africa. I was taking in just the beautiful women, and because I love just seeing them with how they're hardworking. The lights. I was looking at how the streets were, the buildings were, the art. I was just trying to soak all those first impressions were. I was just, just taking in like the nightlife, people on the street, working, talking, the dress, the casual dress. I was noticing how I didn't see a lot of Islamic wear. It was more casual gear. I was just trying to kind of see the vibe of the area.
Oh, that's right. This is a Muslim country and you're a Muslim. So how did it feel
Hmm.
being in a Muslim country versus here in America, which there are a substantial number of Muslims, but we're primarily, I guess, a Christian country.
Yeah, yeah, it's nothing like the Gambia. It
So how did
was,
that feel being a Muslim in a Muslim country?
it really felt amazing because certain things I do and say here, people kind of look at me funny, but when I was doing over there, it was just like people appreciated. They were like, oh, like they were realize when they realized they were like, oh, you're Muslim, because I guess even though I cover, not everyone who covers that goes over there is Muslim. So when I would do
I wasn't
certain
aware of that.
gestures or say, huh?
I wasn't aware of that. Everybody that I saw covered, I thought was a Muslim. And I also saw women, young women, covered, just only this,
Mm-hmm.
unmarried, I don't know if they're virgins or not, but unmarried women, fully covered. And everybody that I saw covered, I took to be a Muslim because I saw plenty of people who weren't covered. And one thing I really liked about the Gambia versus some other African countries, they still wear their traditional dress.
It was just nice being around people and they could appreciate, me. And then me being a foreigner, I guess a lot of foreigners who come there are not Muslim. So that was also stood out because when they realized, okay, you're a foreigner and you're Muslim, they really, I got a lot of great, like, people really received that well.
So the
Exactly.
people were kind to you. What
Yeah.
did you think about the food? How did you like the food and the way they offer the food, both in those produce markets as well as their traditional Gambian dishes?
For me, I'm very cautious about eating in other countries. And that's
Okay.
only because of my system. I'm also a vegetarian. So a lot of people are meat eaters, so they may put meat in their food. So I'm very cautious about eating out. So a lot of times when I was in the Gambia, for the most part, I made most of my meals. I
Mhm.
would go to the market and buy my own groceries and make
How
my
did you
meals.
like
And
those markets? How did you like those markets? Being in Bruford, did you mostly go to the one in Turntable or somewhere else? And how did you
and
like the way they have those markets set up?
Well, the one I mostly went to was one that we would pass going to Bruford that was in Senegambia. And it was a young lady there, and she would have it set up, and we would just go pick our stuff from her. Because what I found is a lot of, some of the women would try to overcharge us
Okay.
for food. But this particular young lady, she was always on point. I felt it was very reasonable, and it was to the point where even like two stalls next to each other, and I would like try to buy from both of them. And when the girl would try to rob, I'm gonna say rob because my thing is, if I'm buying something from you and you charge me a price, and then as I'm leaving, I'm seeing you throwing stuff in my bag because you realize you overcharge me. I feel like that's why I say rob. Where
Yeah,
the
because
other
I'm like,
young
why don't
lady,
you
she
just
was
say,
very,
oh, why don't you just say, oh, sister, actually, that's not the right price. My mistake. I don't know what I was thinking. This is how much it
yeah,
costs. But yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. So she, I was like, okay. And I was just very upfront. I'm just like, you overcharged me. And I was like, and I said, you forget I'm gonna come back here. And I said, but I won't be shopping from you. So the other sister, I will buy from her, and I will, and I was coming almost every other day,
Because you kind of have
coming
to,
and shopping.
just to get the fresh Produce,
the
yeah.
fresh veg, because there's really no refrigeration. So like we
You
would
didn't have
go
any
and
fridge?
we
You had a
did
fridge?
have a fridge,
Oh,
but you have to remember the electricity would go out. So, you still have to
oh,
be
so you
careful
couldn't buy
about,
so much. Okay.
yeah, because it was like your stuff will be in the refrigerator, but you can't open up the refrigerator door because you'll let all the cool air out.
So did the electricity actually go out while you were there?
That was my Gambian welcome. The first night I got there was no electricity.
The first trip when I went there for a month, the electricity never went out. Imagine that.
The first 4 days, the first 4 nights that I was there was no electricity. And that first week, 3 of the days of where I was at during the day was no electricity.
Wow. Well, that's a good motivation to get out the house and go outside. I mean, not at nighttime, but during the day, go outside, do something, be around. So, all right. So you mostly ate at home. How was the shopping for you?
I didn't do a lot of shopping because it was a business trip more so, and me really trying to get acclimated with my store and the staff and just what we were doing. So I didn't do like a lot of personal shopping. I had my driver take me out one day because I was like, I need to get some stuff, and I did not want to go to Seracunda Market because
Okay.
I really didn't like. I didn't want to go. I went to Seracunda Market for Juma prayer. So going there for Juma prayer, which was nice. When I got in, I saw how crazy and hectic and busy it was. I really wasn't interested in going in that kind of environment to do my shopping, for gifts. Because
Okay. So where'd you end up going?
my driver took me out. I can't remember the location right now off the top of my head, but it was a beach area, and they had like all these little like little stores, and it was a small market like Seracunda, but on a smaller scale, not a lot of people, not a lot of craziness. And I was able to negotiate prices. Like I got, bamboo butter that was at a really good price. I got me like a big quart jar size of bamboo butter, soap, black soap, and uh, where I said, okay, I'll come back here again because the it wasn't too expensive,
Mhm.
and the market was big enough where I could find all the things that I wanted. They had spices. I got me some hibiscus flowers to make tea. So it was like some good items there, but it was easy, and it was not a lot of tourists there at all. So it was mostly local people shopping from them. So it
Okay.
wasn't like when I went there, people were on top of me like, come, 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 come. It was kind of like, my driver kind of just let me know what's what, and I negotiate the prices myself. So I think I did a good deal, but I don't know. I probably didn't, but it was a good deal for me.
There are times when I negotiated prices and felt like I had a good deal. And there are other times when I took Gambians to the various markets, depending on where I was going that day. And I was like, oh my God, but that's okay. That's all right. Overall, what did you love about it? And if you could change it, what would you change?
Oh, overall, I love that I know this might. I'm about to contradict myself with this statement, okay? Because I did love that it was underdeveloped because it was so much nature there, so much natural things. Like I was drinking bao fresh off the tree. I was drinking lemongrass tea fresh off the ground. I was loving that aspect of it, but I also did not like the fact that it was so underdeveloped because certain basic things that I would just want, like peroxide, they didn't have. You know, things that I'm
Never
used to
needed
being
anything
able to
like
have
peroxide. I was gonna say what basic
access.
stuff I found: spaghetti and rice and shea butter and black soap and all of that, but I never needed alcohol, rubbing alcohol, peroxide, any iodine or so. I didn't even think of that. That's interesting.
Hmm. So it was like a love hate, and then like those days when I did not feel like cooking, you know, like even like the places to eat out, you're limited because most of the places there do the traditional Gambian food. I wasn't a fan of it.
Okay. 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 There are not a whole bunch of dishes, I don't think. They're like 5 to 8, maybe, would you say, at best?
Yeah, I didn't have all of them, but the few that I have, I was just like, okay.
That's
I
all
tried
right.
to try some of the ones that people brag about, like everyone talk about, oh, they love Benetton, Benetton, Benetton. That's okay, give me some Benetton.
Venison,
I'm like,
venison, yep.
okay. And then I had
I think
Yassa, and I
venison
was
is their
like,
national, I think venison is their national dish, if I'm not mistaken. It seems
yeah,
like it.
I mean, I said I was gonna try. I tried three of their dishes. I tried Benetton, I tried fish Benetton, I tried shrimp Yassa, and
I had
they
yassa.
have, and then they had another one that's like a peanut base.
Domada.
Out of the
Um,
three, I think I like the shrimp. I don't know. The shrimp yassa. I don't know.
Okay, I understand. We understand.
Please tune in next time for part 2 of my conversation with Global Green Book.